I'm going to prove to you that the church is scamming every single Christian in the world. Church tells you that heaven is a place after death, which is completely false, and the Bible tells you this. Corinthians 15:50, I declare to you, brothers and sisters, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. Flesh and blood is your physical body, and you are not this physical body. Which means your emotions, your spirit, and your mind can enter the kingdom of God. Which means the kingdom of God is a state of internal consciousness, mind, spirit, and emotion. Most people live in hell. Hell is where your mind and emotions are giving you trauma. People suffer from mental illness, from emotional chaos. The kingdom of heaven is when you control your mind and you have good thoughts. You have a high state of consciousness where you have control over your inner world. The Bible is encoding this wisdom so that you can actually become a powerful being instead of suffering from your consciousness. Christians will never ever realize this. You're losing in life because your phone is a tool of mind control designed to hijack your attention and redirect the force of your consciousness into nothingness. If you want to win in life, you must understand how your consciousness functions. Consciousness is the most potent force in the universe, and you have direct access to this. They condition your consciousness with fear so that you project a chaotic reality. They fragment your mind so you never gain power. To gain power, you must master your inner world, gaining control over your thoughts and silencing the inner conflict. You know when you want to do something, but you have that inner voice that tells you can't do it? That is a fragmented consciousness. To gain your power, every negative thought you have, think 5 positive more. Meditate 3 times a day. Practice turning off thoughts. This will give you the power to turn on and off your mind and redirect the force of consciousness. If you can focus your mind on one goal and you think about that goal, it will crystallize into your external world through action, your energy, and you will create this reality. They're controlling you to hide the power of consciousness within you. What if I told you Lucifer runs this whole matrix, and Lucifer is not what you think it is? Lucifer is not some red demon with horns. Lucifer is a type of energy. The kind of energy that seduces you with light. That's why the word Lucifer means light bearer. Lucy means light, fer means to bring. It's the kind of energy that appears beautiful, that feels like it's helping you, and looks like a blessing. But behind the mask is something else, something hidden and dark. Take a celebrity, for example. They embody brilliance, talent, charisma, beauty. They look divine. But through the music and their films, you're being subconsciously programmed. You're being manipulated and pulled into mental slavery. That's Luciferianism. It's not the obvious evil. It's dressed in silk. It's destruction that feels good or looks good. Even your eyesight can be Luciferic. Look at your eyes. The sigil of Lucifer is how the brain sees and how the eyes work in reality. Light enters the eyes, and an image is produced in the visual cortex. The physical world is dripping with temptation, money, looks, fame, lust, comfort. It lures you in, feeds your ego, and makes you forget who you are. And by the time you realize it, you've traded your soul for a lie. That's how the light bearer works. Not by force, but by seduction. Lucifer is the evil dressed in good. It's a type of energy that seduces you into losing and corrupting yourself. Religion is demon worship. If you follow a religion, you need to listen. Physical world is shaped by the mental world. This object was a thought in the mind before it was physical. All creation begins as a thought, then imagination, then energy, then physical reality. Thoughts shape the astral plane, same dimension you use when you imagine something and when you go to sleep. This is where spirits are. You have a personal mind and a collective mind of the whole world combined. And we all agree on a certain thought. This manifests as an energy in the imaginative plane. It will literally create a demonic consciousness because the collective consciousness is vibrating very low and we think negative thoughts. If you believe in Christianity, the collective thoughts of Jesus and the negative emotional energy we give him when we pray manifests as a whole collective being in the astral plane. You are worshipping a false god, deity created by the collective consciousness. True God is your soul, because your soul is connected to the source consciousness of the universe. The correct way to worship God is by aligning your mind and heart with higher consciousness and higher principles, and purifying yourself. Have you ever wondered what that high-pitched noise is in your ear when you are silent? Well, it turns out you can use that high-pitched noise to do something very mystical with yourself. Your brain is not one system. It consists of two hemispheres, a feminine right brain, Isis, a masculine left brain, Ra. The brain does not produce consciousness. Consciousness is downloaded into the brain. The brain is a computer that simulates this physical reality. The noise you hear in your ears can be used to align the brain hemispheres, which will unlock higher states of consciousness, maybe even out-of-body experiences. In order to unlock your consciousness, the electrical system of your brains need to be working together and not fighting each other. And that's what that noise is in your ear. The noise in your ear is the noise of the electricity in your brain. By closing your eyes and listening to that noise, you can actually sync the brain hemispheres. Or you can do it in an artificial way. And when the two electrical systems become one, you unlock consciousness, which is the Holy Land of Israel, Isis, Ra, and El. The Holy Land in the Bible is not a real place, but a place in your consciousness where you can go to and rise above the thoughts, where it's eternal peace, no thoughts. Simply just meditate and focus all your attention on that high-pitched voice in your ears. If you do this long enough, you will have a very mystical experience. Israel is not the Holy Land. The Holy Land is in you. Israel, Isis, Ra, and El. Isis, the feminine right brain. Ra, the masculine left brain. You enter the Holy Land by aligning your brain hemispheres, unlocking consciousness, El. Simply do this just by meditating. You enter the Holy Land by turning off your senses, your thoughts and emotions, and you bathe in the awareness of pure consciousness, escaping the activity of the mind, emotions and senses. The Holy Land is not a real place, but a symbolic place inside your own consciousness that you can enter and escape everything. The next time you feel overwhelmed and thinking too much, just simply meditate, turn off everything, and you will bathe in the Holy Land inside your consciousness. Demon is a D-mon. Mon is moon, meaning emotion. D means negative. Demon is a negative emotion that possesses your mind, body, and spirit. Every thought you think becomes an emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. You create your own demons by directing thoughts into a specific emotional form. Demons are just negative aspects of your own psyche, little voices you've created in your subconscious that control you. Thoughts turn into imagination. Imagination is the body of thought. Imagination is a dimension called the astral plane. Your negative thought forms have created demons in the astral plane. Every addiction you have is a demon, an astral entity you've created and given life to by your thought and emotional energy. This is why we all have our own personal demons. They are not some external force, they are aspects of your psyche.
So we always see this checkerboard floor in music videos. The Freemasons are showing you in this image how to become enlightened and raise our awareness. At the bottom we have the West. This is where the sun sets. This represents the darkness, symbolic darkness of a divided state of consciousness and spiritual deadness. When the inner and outer world are not aligned, we do not act on according to our intuition of goodness. We are stuck in you versus me thinking, stuck on the chessboard, the game of life, the physical material world of duality. This checkered board is what we need to ascend up from, to higher awareness between the sun and the moon, representing unifying the masculine and the feminine forces of consciousness to unity consciousness. This is where the east is. The east is where the sun rises in the morning, which is symbolic of rising consciousness towards a higher understanding, more light. When someone's intelligent, you call them a bright person, because knowledge is light. You have to move towards higher understanding, not external knowledge, but knowledge of your internal world, the forces of consciousness, thoughts, emotions, visualizations. It's all about rising your understanding of your inner world and your forces of consciousness. Here we have a blueprint to build a temple. This temple is not a physical physical temple, but a symbolic temple. The temple is your mind. We must use our thoughts, emotions, and actions to actively use these tools to reconstruct our mind, our temple, and climb the ladder of higher awareness and higher consciousness. We actively have to seek into our inner world through meditations, trances, hypnosis, in order to unlock higher awareness of your consciousness and the forces within you. Most people live down here in divided chaos, you versus me, unconsciousness. People don't realize they have consciousness. They take it for granted. They identify themselves with the illusion of the material world. This is the illusion, the black and white checkered board. We have to rise from this illusion towards the light, higher awareness of self.
Back in the medieval times, they practiced magic and witchcraft. There's something called the occult virtue of things, meaning everything has its own power. A bear is very strong, an owl stays up very late, a dog has heightened smell. They would rip out the heart of an animal to gain its virtue. If they wanted to stay up all night, they'd carry the heart of an owl. If they wanted more strength, they'd carry the heart of a bear. Now fast forward to today, the meat industry is massive. Are they feeding us all this meat to keep us locked in our animal nature? Because humans, we're more than just animals. We possess self-awareness, we can question reality, and we can elevate to something beyond our instincts. The mind is connected to beyond physicality, but if we're constantly consuming flesh, we're being kept in this lower instinctual nature. The moon is your mind. You can use the moon to your advantage. A full moon is very powerful. There are more police calls on a full moon than any other day of the month, the moon. The moon enhances our psyche, our internal state. If you are angry and a full moon comes around, this will be enhanced. And you will become a monster, a moon star, or a lunatic. Lunar is the moon. On a full moon, you should be visualizing, thinking and feeling the desired reality you want, because your intent, thoughts and emotions are more powerful on a full moon. This is why if you type in witches, they're always next to a full moon, because this is the best time to cast a spell. 28-day cycle of the moon, 28-day cycle of the menstrual cycle. It's in direct correlation with the moon. The moon governs liquids in your body. Fasting on a full moon is also very powerful because the water in your body is being pulled by the moon. That's why the tides of the ocean follow the moon. 28-day cycle, this is a month, a month. 365 days divided by 28, which is 13. There are 13 monthly cycles. Where is the missing month? We do not know what year we are truly in, people. I think they did this to stop us being in sync with the monthly cycle. What do you guys think? Smoking is witchcraft. Every plant has a spirit, a consciousness. Burning the plant releases the essence, the spirit of that plant. Inhaling the smoke is inhaling the spirit of that plant, which is infusing that consciousness with yours and making you become high. If you smoke tobacco, you're addicted to the spirit of tobacco. That spirit has control over your consciousness. Witchcraft is not evil. It can be used for good and bad. Smoking the devil's lettuce can be used for good and bad. You invoke the spirit of the plant. If you smoke lettuce with a bad mindset, you're invoking anxiety spirit. If you smoke with a positive, high vibrational mindset, you open your consciousness. You are the magician. You are the invoker of the spirit. Smoking plants with no self-control will invoke the spirit to control you. If you're going to smoke lettuce, use it to meditate and access deep meditation, or use it in ritual to reprogram your subconscious. Whatever you do, never smoke on a full moon, and stop using it to escape reality. Use it to open up your consciousness or to reflect on your life and access deep thought. Doing it every day will just make you lazy and you'll get nowhere in life. The link is in my bio for the free Telegram for free content. Why is it the Egyptians are obsessed with snakes? They've hidden this knowledge from you. Snakes shed their skin to remove old layers. They represent transformation. Kundalini is symbolized with snakes because you're transforming sexual energy to the brain. That's why the medical symbol uses a snake, because they transform your health back to healthy. Every ancient culture and religion uses snakes. They represent the ancient religion of Ascension, transforming from a physical being to a spiritual being, low frequency to high frequency. These foods keep you in low frequency, hence why they're all red, orange and yellow for the lower three chakras. Snakes represent the ancient religion of mental or spiritual alchemy, turning lead into gold. Lead ruled by Saturn, physical matter. Gold ruled by the sun, enlightenment. Turning low-level desire and pleasure into wisdom, intuition and expression, raising your thoughts and consciousness out of the lower half of the body to the head. They've hidden the ancient religion of the snake to make you worship a god outside of yourself. Now they give you Allah and Jesus, which are in essence demons in the astral planes. Read the caption to understand that. If you want to learn symbolism, the masterclass is now available. They've disconnected you from the heavens. The whole world used to speak one language. This language was called telepathy. We could speak by transferring thoughts through the energetic grid that surrounds us all. Tower of Babel represents this connection to the astral and mental plane. The Bible mentions this tower being cut down. It symbolizes losing our connection to the higher realms. Once the tower was cut down, the whole world spoke a different language. Tower of Babel is a symbolic story representing losing the ability to telepathically communicate. Have you ever thought about someone and they magically appear on your phone? This is because we're all connected on the mental plane. Language is a spell. It molds our mind, limits our imagination, confines our thoughts to structures. Imagine thinking without your mind using a language. To gain telepathic powers, meditate for long periods of time on one intent. Focus the mind's energy and attention on one thing for long periods of time. Placing your hands together completes the electrical circuit of your body. Your hands are manifestations of your brain hemispheres. The left hand is the right brain, the creative one. The right hand is the left brain, the logical one. Tate uses these mudras as a technique to merge the brain hemispheres, to merge logic with creativity. Most people are trapped in their logical mind because society programs you that way. You're taught to use your right hand in writing to strengthen the left hemisphere, trapping you in logic, dulling creativity. Christianity, nuns are forced to write with their right hand to strengthen the left hemisphere. Hence why it's called writing sounds like the right, because they need you using the right side of your body to keep you in logic. Look at prayer. We place our hands together in prayer. This stems from an ancient form of meditation of placing the hands together to sync the brain hemispheres, to unlock consciousness. Because when the brain hemispheres work as one electrical system, consciousness expands. The mind becomes unified. Join my Telegram in the bio. The Egyptian gods never existed. They symbolize the sun in the 4 different states. Horus is the sun when it's rising. Horizon, Horus is rising. Word hours rearranged is Horus. Ra is the sun when it's radiant, when the sun is the most high, 12 noon. Set is the sun at 6 p.m. when the sun sets. Yearly cycle is a daily cycle. Spring is 6 a.m. Summer is 12. Autumn is when the sun sets. Nighttime is winter. Horus and Set is Jesus and Satan. Set, the ground animal, lower self. Horus, the bird, the air animal, the higher self. Egyptian scarab is a dung beetle. Rolls dung up and then down the hill, representing the sun rising and falling, hence why the Egyptians used the sun above him. The Vatican is a sun dial, because Jesus is the sun with his 12 disciples. You don't go to hell because you sinned, not because you didn't believe in God, but because your soul was still chained to the physical world. Your body is stripped when you die, leaving your inner world of thought and emotion. If your soul is still craving physical pleasures, sex, money, fame, then you will suffer in your own suffering, because in spirit you can't fulfill the physical desires of the physical plane. Monks shave their heads, abandon the material world, not out of fear, but to free themselves before death. I'm not saying go full monk mode, but find balance. Enjoy life, enjoy the pleasures of the world, just don't let them own you. Love your family, but not attached to it, because one day you will leave this world behind. Everything is temporary, and your consciousness needs to be in the correct state in order to ascend. Hell is not a real place, but your own suffering in the afterlife. Join my Telegram in the bio. What is the meaning behind these three Masonic symbols? First of all, we have the compass. This is the cherry on top. It's the most important one. But first, we must understand these. First off, we have the left pillar, Jackin. Sometimes the sun on the top, sometimes the earth on the top. Earth or the sun represents matter, what you can visibly see. The right pillar with B, Boaz, with the stars or the moon on top. This represents what you cannot see. External physical world, internal world of consciousness. The inner and the outer are mirrors of each other. Your current life circumstances are a manifestation of every thought you thought in the past. It also represents polarity, male and female. The brain, intellect, masculine. The heart, emotion, feminine. A compass creates circles, feminine. The square creates lines, masculine. Make the most out of life and make great decisions. The intellect must be in sync with the emotion. Remember that time when your head told you something but your heart was telling you something else? They need to be in sync, which is the square and the compass together. But this represents all duality. We need to balance the inside world with the outside world. Don't get too attached to the external. Don't be overly spiritual. Balance spirit and matter. Balancing the brain with the heart. It represents balance in all areas of your consciousness. People ask why? What's the point? Because this is how you gain your personal power.
You are a creator. You've been creating your whole life consciously or unknowingly. In order to create with efficiency, you must balance every aspect of the self. Satan does not exist. Mark of the beast is 3 sixes. 3 represents the 3 aspects of consciousness: thought, emotion, action. Cubes have 6 sides: up, down, left, right, backwards, forwards. 6 represents the physical world. 666 is you, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are all going towards your physical world, cutting off your spirituality, turning you into the beast, turning the pentagram upside down, placing spirit on the very bottom. Satanists do not worship Satan, worship the material world and what it has to offer. They're actually worshipping their physical self. We are not in 2025. Month comes from the word moon, moonth. The moon has a 28-day moon cycle. 365 divided by 28 is 13. 13 lunar cycles every year, which means our calendar has a missing month, which means we don't know what year we're actually in. This is gonna blow your mind. The sky is a clock. The sun tells the time of the day. The moon tells the day of the month. The stars tell you the month of the year. The sky above our head is intelligent. Everything on earth is matter. Everything above us is spirit. That's why they're floating. They're not rocks you can land on. The Gregorian calendar was made for slaves. Calendar comes from calends, the first day of the month the Romans had to pay off their debt. So what does all of this actually mean, and why did they do it? They made this fake calendar to cut off our connection with our celestial intelligence above and keep our mind, body, and spirit out of rhythm with these cycles. We must live in harmony with the cycles above us. You can create abundance in your life with using the moon to your advantage. All of my students know that. There's a secret meaning behind 666. 666 is 3 sixes. 3 represents the 3 aspects of creation and consciousness: thoughts, emotions, and actions. These 3 things have created your life. This is where it gets scary. The number 6 represents the cube, and this material world is created in cubes: forwards, down, up, backwards, left, and right. 6 represents the material world. 666 represents your thought, emotions, and actions all going towards your material body and material pleasure, cutting yourself off from spirituality. Red is the slowest vibrational frequency, and it represents chaotic and intense emotions like hate and anger. You are the devil. It's not a real person. It's the lower aspects of the human mind. The voice we hear in our head that tells us to do bad things is not the devil. It's an aspect of your mind. He has a goat head. Goats are ground animals. They represent the lower self. Angels have wings, which represent the higher self. Adam and Eve is a sexual story. When we are born, we have a pure consciousness, and we have no ability to reproduce life. As we grow older, we gain the power of creation. Our sexual energy is activated and turning us into an adult. We gain the ability to produce life, and this sacred power can be misused, as it is a sacred force within you. Eve is feminine, she's the emotion. Adam is masculine, he's the action. The serpent is the deceiving sexual urge. This is a symbolic story of how we lose pure consciousness and we gain the consciousness of good and evil. Our consciousness splits into the ego and the shadow, into the higher and the lower self. But this is not bad. It's a natural cycle of human consciousness. But we need to wake up from it and find our way back to the Garden of Eden. Don't lose yourself in material lust and material pleasures. They'll leave you feeling empty and unsatisfied. Instead, save your sexual energy, master your mind, and control your emotions. And don't let external things control your inner world. And that's how we find our way back to the Garden of Eden, reaching a pure state of consciousness, meanwhile knowing the knowledge of good and evil. The Bible is the greatest psychological text ever written. I've noticed something a bit strange about these LA fires everyone's been tagging me in. The first weird thing that I noticed is that insurance companies dropped fire coverage 3 months before the fire started. And many people have reported electrical wires from the power grid causing these fires. And of course, the water supply has been cut off. And don't you think it's a bit weird in this picture that all of the trees stay standing but the houses aren't? Of course, this is for educational purposes only, and I'm not claiming anything. And then we go to Google and type in 2028 Smart LA City. What a coincidence they want to build a smart city in LA. And of course, it's a lot easier to build a whole city if there's no buildings there. Of course, this is just for educational purposes only, and I hope everyone is safe over there. Thank you.
I found some secret codes in the Bible. The Bible contains numerology, and in Revelation 14, it states 144,000 will go to heaven. 144 adds up to 9. The 9th letter in the English alphabet is I. God's name Yahweh means I am. This is our body. I is our consciousness. 9 is the number of consciousness. Let's take it deeper. The lamb standing on Mount Zion. The lamb represents Aries. Aries rules the head, and this is the lamb horns in our brain. Holy Mount Zion is our spine. The lamb is on top of Mount Zion with the 144,000, which is 9, which is consciousness. And they had the Father's name written on their forehead. Our forehead is where our consciousness is. 144,000 who had been redeemed from the earth represent the ones who found their consciousness. 144,000 sang a new song. New song is a new state of awakened consciousness. Sing a new song. Awaken to your consciousness, not your body. Heaven is a state of consciousness. This book will literally tell you everything. Ever wondered why your middle finger's considered swearing? There's a hidden element that they've hid from you called ether. 5 points on the body, 5 elements. 5 fingers, 5 elements. They demonized your middle finger because it's ether. But what exactly is the ether? Ether is like the blueprint to all physical creation. They covered up the ether by calling it dark matter. It's where all energy comes from and returns back to. Think of it as an eternal water of life feeding everything with energy. Yes, the ether can provide free 0-point energy, but that is not the biggest secret. The biggest secret about the ether is that our minds can manifest whatever we project into it into a reality. This is what the Matrix is showing you with these codes. You can change the codes to reality by changing your inner consciousness. The ether acts as a barrier from the imagination plane, astral, into the physical plane. Just look at the words that we use. Together. Ether. There's so much more that goes into this. Make sure to follow me. Did you know the only difference between water and ice is a state of vibration? Now think of your desired reality. Only difference between your desired reality and your current circumstances is a state of consciousness. You can become the reality you want before you physically have it. If you observe closely, it's not actually the job that you hate. It's the emotion, the thoughts, and the state of consciousness that job makes you feel. Therefore, it's not the job that you want to change, it's the state of consciousness. By using our thought, emotion, and imagination, we can become the reality in a state of consciousness before physically having it, and watch your outer world rearrange itself to match your new state. Think about this. Your life is a direct correlation of every thought you thought in the past, which means your world is an externalization, a materialization of your thoughts and mind. Most people live in a cycle of the external world manipulating their inner world, not realizing their inner world is projecting the outer, which produces a cycle of constant negative manifestation. But when we stop, when we change our inner world and we act, think, feel as if we are already living from the wish fulfilled, that's how we produce effect in the material world. Why is it Freemasons always place the East at the top of their artwork? I'm going to decode the symbolism for you. At the bottom of the painting we have checkered board floors. This is the base, this is the beginning. Black is material, white is spiritual. The physical world is made by spirit and matter combined. This represents the beginning of the Mason's journey when he lives in illusion and identifies himself with the physical body. Now this is why you see the checkered floor in music all the time, because they're using music to produce illusions. This is a blueprint to produce a temple, and these are the tools to create the temple. Not a physical temple, a temple within our own mind. These tools represent the tools to reconstruct our inner world, to change our belief system, limiting beliefs and mental blockages. We must build a temple in the 3 aspects of our consciousness: thought, emotion, action. Once we have reconstructed and built a temple of moral law and integrity and changed our belief systems within our own mind and consciousness, we can then start the journey to enlightenment. This ladder is the ladder of climbing to higher consciousness, going from the illusion of the material world up to enlightenment and understanding higher levels of reality. And no, I'm not a Freemason, I've just studied their symbols. When you can read symbolism, it will change your life. Why is it the ancients always wore silver? This is gonna blow your mind. Your brain and your body is a bioelectric system. Your body is basically a technological machine which serves as an interface that allows consciousness to interact with the 3D world. Your body's flow of ions and electrons helps to ensure that your body's bioelectric machinery operates harmoniously and supports vital functions, which is why the ancients wore silver and precious metals, because they enhance the flow of ions and electrons, which can enhance the flow of electricity within your body, making your brain to process information quicker. You are an electromagnetic machine. The human body is a battery. This is why we have to charge ourselves constantly with energy. Silver is said to be one of the best energy conductors. Silver has the ability to minimize electrical resistance, which improves cellular communication and energy flow. This is the original reason why humans used to wear jewelry, not to enhance our looks, but to enhance the functions of our electrical bodies. If you have neck, wrist, or ankle pain, you would wear a specific metal around this area. Freemasons wear this symbol, which is the same symbol for Gmail. The G is the Masonic G. The M is for the mother, because the woman holds a portal, a stargate into the physical world. That's why they wear it in the genital area. The mother makes you into matter, all M's. Once you are made into matter in the womb, she then delivers the male. Every single one of us came through the mother into the physical world. That's why they're so important. Feminine, nin is 9. Masculine, lin is line. 1 and 9 adds up to 10, which is the binary code of all creation. 0 is the cosmic womb. 1 is the masculine pillar. These are the only two numbers that truly exist. That's why man adds up to 10, and so does Adam, because we are made in perfection with the numbers. 6, 9. 6 is physical matter, the cube. 9 is spirit, spirit and matter combined. The woman combines your spirit with your physical body. If you feel lost and don't understand reality, read this book. Emojis are demons. Demons are spirits. In magic, you use sigils to invoke spirits and demons. But what exactly is a spirit? A spirit is just a non-physical force or energy. Emotion is energy in motion. Motion is a spirit. Emojis are sigils which invoke specific spirits or emotions. This sigil invokes the spirit of happiness. The spirit invokes the spirit of frustration and anger. Just by looking at these emojis or sigils, they change energy in your consciousness. This is invoking energy within you. A demon is just a negative spirit, a negative emotion which possesses you, possesses your heart and your energy field, making you feel a certain way. You're an electromagnetic being with the power to invoke energy. You lot have been going crazy recently. We're nearly sold out on the Book of Wisdom. There is limited available. Elon Musk with the Omega symbol. What does this mean? Omega is the last letter of the Greek alphabet. It represents the end. This is the 24th letter of the Greek alphabet. Last year was 2024. This was the end. 2025 is the new beginning. These are just some of the codes that the elite speak to us through symbolism. Look at the dollar bill. The dollar bill has an omega on it, representing the last physical currency we will have before moving towards a digital currency. They show us these things through symbolism before they actually do it. Jesus never existed. The Last Supper is astrology. Each body part is ruled by a zodiac. Aries the lamb rules the head, which is why he's on the head of the table. Taurus rules the neck. He has a very thick neck for Taurus the bull. The next sign is Gemini. Gemini is the two arms, the two twins. That's why his hands are up for the two twins. Next sign is Cancer the crab with pinchers. He's holding a knife for the pincher of Cancer. The next sign is Leo when the sun is powerful, radiant and summer. That's why he's showing dominance with a clenched fist and an elbow on the table. The next sign is Virgo the virgin. He's pointing that there's no Adam's apple. This is a woman of Virgo the virgin. Jesus is the sun, the light of the world, the risen savior, the son of God. He's placed in a triangle to symbolize the sun's rays. One hand up for the daytime, one hand down for the taking away of the sun at nighttime. Libra is when the sun is balanced between summer and the winter. That's why Libra is the balanced scales, and the symbol is a half rising sun. That's why he's holding his arms out balanced. Next sign is Scorpio with this man pointing upwards. Scorpio is our reproductive sexual organs. He's pointing up because you must raise your sexual energy up to Aries. That's why Aries is an anagram for arise. They're in 4 groups of 3 because there are 3 months in each season. Luke, Mark, John and Matthew. Spring, summer, fall, winter. Jesus is the sun, which is our soul. Spring is our physical body. Summer is our spirit. Fall is our emotions. Winter. Orgasms are ruining your life. When you release, you produce dopamine. Dopamine is the brain's reward system. When you release, you get a spike in dopamine, feeling amazing. This tells your body that you have achieved something. Then your dopamine levels plunge. If you have an orgasm every day, then you are tricking your brain and body that you have achieved something, because you're activating the brain's reward system. This is why you feel lazy, tired, and unmotivated to do anything with your life, because your body already feels accomplished and achieved something. When you stop watching these dirty websites, then your brain will start to seek dopamine in other things, like writing a book or making something out your life. Sex is the best possible feeling that the human body can feel, and if you experience this feeling every day, then you will numb yourself to the little things in life that you won't be able to enjoy, because you're giving yourself the epitome of feelings. When you stop watching porn and releasing, your life will change. Your soul is trapped in the physical dimension if you can't imagine. Imagination is not physical. You can't touch it. It's not made of atoms. It exists in a higher dimension of consciousness. Everything starts in the imagination before it becomes a physical reality. For example, Diddy's house. The design was in someone's vision, mental screen, before it was a physical reality. People think that their third eye is open because they feel energy and now they're awake. That's not it. The third eye is your inner screen. If you can't vividly picture a red apple in your mind, you're cut off from the fourth dimension. Activating the third eye means unlocking what Freemasons call the spirit vision. Freemasons know this. They call it the astral plane. Don't you think it's crazy how if you use your imagination nowadays, people say, oh, you're just using your imagination, and they call you crazy? Everything in this dimension was pulled out of the fourth dimension, the imagination. A vision first, then the physical world was just the effect. If you want to reconnect to the fourth dimension, comment ebook and I'll send you a free guide on how to do so. Jesus never died on a cross. It's a symbolic story. Jesus took 5 wounds on the cross and then he ascended to heaven. The 5 wounds represent the 5 senses. These are the 5 ways the soul interacts with matter. In order to reach your higher consciousness, you have to sacrifice the desire of the 5 senses, detaching from the material world, so that we can ascend to our higher consciousness. To prove this, the Bible says the flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God in Corinthians. The body cannot enter heaven, which means your emotion, your mind, and spirit can, which proves heaven is a state of consciousness now. This is why Jesus says take no thought 5 times in Matthew. Take no thought is meditation. 5 to turn off the 5 senses so that we can connect with the higher consciousness. The word Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving Earth. The whole Bible is an allegorical, spiritual ascension toolbook. This book will help you understand this. Religions were made to hide the truth about yourself. Every religion has a sacred river. For the Egyptians, it's the River Nile. For the Christians, it's the Jordan River. This river is the human spinal cord. The brain produces cerebrospinal fluid through the pineal and the pituitary gland. When the moon enters your sun sign, the cerebrospinal fluid falls down the spine every month to regulate the systems of the body. Jesus was in Nazareth with Joseph and Mary. Joseph the pineal, Mary the pituitary. Jesus then travels down the Jordan River, your spine, and goes to Bethlehem, your sacrum bone. Joseph and Mary are waiting for Jesus' return, which is the brain waiting for the oil to return back up the spine. And when Jesus returns back up the Jordan River, the spine, to Joseph and Mary, he's crucified in Golgotha, which translates to a place in the skull, at the age 33, because there are 33 vertebrae on the back of your spine. So this process of Jesus is symbolic of raising the cerebrospinal fluid back to your brain. This process activates dormant parts of the brain that were never activated before, making the brain process information quicker and working more efficiently. The whole Bible is a spiritually encoded text on how to reach the higher human potential. The Symbolism Masterclass opens tomorrow. There are limited spaces. I want you to ask yourself something. How does this embryo grow a nervous system? How does it know what to do? What's the intelligence behind it? Well, my friend, this is the same intelligence that's telling your heart to beat right this second. That's telling your stomach to digest food without you being conscious of it. This is what we call the subconscious. Our subconscious mind is connected to an infinite intelligence. It's amazing how God works. When the sun enters Aries, this is when nature springs back to life, symbolizing the start of a new life. The Passover is celebrated by the Jews and they eat lamb,
because this is when the sun has now passed over the winter and hit Aries, the lamb. Christians celebrate Easter, which is the resurrection of Jesus. Jesus is the sun, hence why he has 12 disciples for the 12 zodiac signs, 4 gospels for spring, summer, fall and winter. Jesus is known as the light of the world, the son of God. They want us out of rhythm with nature. This is why they changed the new year to be in Capricorn when everything is dead, and then created April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day is the real New Year's. Link is in my bio for the Book of Wisdom.
The Masonic compass is a compass and a square. The square can only be used on a flat line, which is the flat plane. The compass creates archways and circles, which represents the heavens, which then gives you the symbol of the Masonic Royal Arch. This is the true cosmology. The compass is also representing the black sun, and the moon and Polaris. This is sacred geometry. The 4 symbols for the 4 elements. The earth symbol is a triangle and a line. The black sun and the moon, and the line for the flat land. This is the equator. This is the Tropic of Capricorn. This is the Tropic of Cancer. Summer is when the sun rotates inwards to the Tropic of Cancer. Then it will spiral outward to the Tropic of Capricorn to create winter, and then repeat this spiral. The electromagnetic torus field of the Earth, the plane of inertia, is the planet Earther, and the sun and the moon is rotating around the magnetic North Pole. The compass and the square also represents the sun, the moon, the black sun, and Polaris. Stop, watch this. Trees have a frequency around 200 hertz. They make you feel grounded, happy, and they also emit energy, which charges your electromagnetic field. This map shows the amount of trees in a lower class area. This is a higher class area map showing way more trees. Trees have the ability to ground you, which reduces inflammation and separates red blood cells from clusters, which makes the blood more fluid, which makes the heart work less, meaning it's keeping you more healthy. This is done intentionally. Let me know what you think about this.
The tree of knowledge of good and evil is the nervous system because it gives your soul the knowledge of good and evil. You are a soul and mind in the center of the brain. The all-seeing eye is your consciousness, your soul, because it's the observer of all things. It sees everything the mind is thinking. It sees all of the emotions you're feeling right now, and it sees with the 2 eyes. It's the all-seeing eye between the left and the right hemisphere of the brain. So basically, you are consciousness experiencing a program being ran by the central nervous system. In fact, you're not even seeing into reality. Light is sucked through the black holes of the eyes and an image is produced at the back of the brain. So everything is a projection from within yourself. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit. Always a trinity because you are a soul, mind and body. Soul is the watcher, the mind is the projector, projecting the soul into different realities, and the body is the body you inhabit when you project yourself. Brahma has many different heads because the soul inhabits different bodies. The mind connecting the soul to the body. The serpent symbolizes knowledge for the mind. Matthew 6:22, the light of the body is the eye. Therefore, if thine eye be single, thy whole body should be full of light. You are the entity inside of the brain, and this entity is God. This is why the ancients always depicted God in the brain. Head is heaven, heel is hell. These are mind states which you manifest, not physical places. This PDF gets updated every month. The link is in the bio. Particles do not exist, only electromagnetic fields. This is why nature is electromagnetism. Atoms are actually electromagnetic toroidal fields. At the center of every torus field there is a black hole and a white hole. White hole is white light, which is magnetism, which splits into 2 electrical components. The white light gives birth to redshift, which is explosiveness out of counter space, which manifests into the male action taker, the outforce. Once the spiraling field loses its momentum, it seeks back into rest, which is blue shift, which manifests as the female, which is the in-force. This is seeking safety. Physical matter, what we see, is a result of these 2 forces equalized on the plane of inertia, which gives you planet Earth. Yes, it's a flat plane. The magnetic light creates the 2 electrical effects, red and blue. This is why everything is red and blue. Red and blue pill on the matrix, red and blue tap, red and blue siren. Roses are red, violets are blue. Magnetism radiates outwards. It's pure. It does not have a vibration. But the effect of this radiating force creates an electrical vibration. Now,
All vibrations have to come back to a standstill point like a guitar string. This is why our physical bodies die, because it contains of electricity. Electricity is mortal. Magnetism is immortal. By believing in physical particles, they've tricked your mind into a physical universe, when in fact all things seen come from the unseen, as says in the Bible. If you want to learn more, the link is in the bio for the Book of Wisdom. There is paperbacks and PDFs. Smelly breath is not natural. Smell is coming from your gut, from the toxic food that you're putting inside of you. Body odor is also the rotten food inside of you coming out of your skin. Every 90 days, every cell in your body is brand new, made from the food that you have put in your body. This is why you are what you eat. And every 2 years, your whole body is brand new. Putting death in your body will result in aging quicker. Putting life in your body is the opposite. The sugar in fruit is not bad for you. You can eat as much as you want. Your bad breath, your body odor, is the rotting food inside of your stomach. You will never get bad breath or body odor with this. And did you know 80% of your immune system resides in the gut? Your gut is a second brain, and every disease is linked to the microbiome in your gut. Every 3 months, you should be cleansing the gut to get rid of all of the excess food that is left over. You can do this by juicing or consuming a fruit-only diet. This will help push out and eliminate any waste foods and toxic mucus within the gut. Goosebumps are piloerections, which happens when the two hemispheres of the brain are syncing together to create grey matter in the brain, which is the Christos, the kundalini, which goes down the spine. Resurrection. Res is resh, meaning head. Erection is the piloerection. If you cannot create a piloerection by will, you cannot raise your kundalini. If you can generate these goosebumps by will, you will feel a tingling sensation in the brain, which will then spread down the body. Use your mind to focus on this energy, this tingling sensation at the base of the spine, and raise it up to the brain again. You'll then feel your brain become hollow and filled with tingling sensations and light. It's one of the most divine experiences you could ever have. Oh, look at my skin. There's no goosebumps, nothing. This is all clear. Now watch this. This is mental control over the electric nervous system in the brain, sending electrical currents through the body. The tingling sensation you feel is the increase in brain activity. If you can't do it by will, you can practice this because it is a muscle. You can use frequencies as well to activate them. And when you feel the tingling sensation coming, you need to hold on to it and raise it from the base of the spine up to the brain.
Cameras were used in a standard first-grade classroom, and several hyperactive children may be noted, especially the boy in the immediate foreground. 90 days after, the regular cool white fluorescent tubes were replaced with the new type full-spectrum fluorescent tubes with radiation shields. Prior to the time that this new lighting was installed, this particular boy had an extreme learning disability problem, but quickly learned to read within 90 days after the new lights were installed.
They tell you that the planets and the stars are just spinning rocks in space, when in fact they are actually lights within the firmament, which affect our consciousness. The experiment you've just seen proves that light affects our actions, thoughts and emotions. Why do you think you feel so energetic and happy when the sun comes out? The celestial bodies govern the earth and influence consciousness. The Egyptians, Mayans and ancient Christians all knew the power of astrology. They used astrology to foretell the future and to gain deeper connections with themselves. Why do you think Jesus has 12 disciples, 12 archangels in the book of Enoch, 12 imams of Shia? Because they all represent the 12 zodiac constellations. Even JP Morgan said that millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do. When you are born, you are given a celestial blueprint because you were born into a specific alignment in the stars. This blueprint tells you everything about you and your future. If you want to get your most in-depth reading of 350 plus pages, the link is in the bio. You do not want to get an electric car. The EMF frequencies they produce harm the cells in your body and create inflammation. Secondly, it destroys your electromagnetic field, which is your shield against diseases and negative energy. Your physical health is a product of your electromagnetic field called your aura. If you do not look after this field, your body will become destroyed. When the smart grid comes out, everything will be connected through the smart grid through 5G, and they will be able to turn off your car, your bank, your phone at the click of a finger if you do anything wrong. Jesus knew this knowledge, the knowledge of your electromagnetic field. Without it, you are lost. Your internal mental and emotional states manifest your external physical world. Your heart produces this field, and you feel your emotions in the heart. Your thoughts create your emotions create the electromagnetic field from the heart, the energy in motion, and your electromagnetic field creates your physical reality. This means your external world is a reflection and a physical manifestation of your internal mental and emotional state. This is why your life is hell. Because you've been taught that your emotions are something that should be reactive, when in fact you should be choosing the emotions you feel so that you manifest the emotion that you feel in your external world. Because by feeling that emotion, you become that vibration. Your vibe attracts your tribe. You attract whatever vibration that you are. By combining your electric thoughts and magnetic emotions to feel something before you have it, this is how you become that vibration. You create your own reality. The universe is mental. Everything exists within your mind. Stop worshipping Jesus and all of these religions and external gods because they do not exist. Everything exists within you. You are the universe. You're literally playing a game. You can manifest anything you want in this world. You need this to learn how to manifest properly. You're stuck within the cage, the rib cage. You're in a prison cell because you're made out of cells. You are hexed in physical matter. This is the X, the hex. The hexagram's a cube unfolded is the cross. You need to escape the physical world, the three-dimensional matrix, which is the world of Satan. Because Satan gives you the mark of the beast, the physical body, the 666 carbon suit, and then blinds your mind. Your mind is completely separate from the physical world. Through physical pleasures and lack of understanding of yourself, you think your mind is part of your physical body, when in reality they are two separate things. Your mind is completely separate from your physical body. The physical world is a dimension within your mind. Men means mind, mental. Mind in Latin means mens. In order to escape the three-dimensional physical world, you have to fully detach your mind from your body. Meditation is key in transcending the 3D world and traveling the depths of your mind. Mind and matter is one. They are different dimensions within your mind. When you dream, your mind creates matter. This is why mind and matter are one. The cube is the shape that gives rise to physical matter. The link is in my bio for the Book of Wisdom, paperback and PDF. The earth is darkness, it produces no light. All of the light comes from above in the heavens. This is why all religions stem back to the worshipping of the stars. Without them, we would be dead. Why do you think Jesus is called the risen Saviour, the light of the world, and has 12 disciples for the 12 constellations? The sun rises every morning and saves you. He's the risen Saviour. Your body is the darkness, your consciousness is the light. Out of the darkness ye must rise upwards, one with the light and one with the stars. The emerald tablets of Thoth. Why do you think the Freemasons always show a ladder up to the celestial stars above and depict all of the light coming from above? They want you to believe this to keep you stuck down here within the darkness. The stars represent the higher realms beyond the earth. Beyond the stars is the astral plane. This is why the word astral has star within it. Change this to astronomy. Space is fake. Earth rearranged is heart. Heart means middle. This is why the Freemasons stand on the checkerboard. It represents duality, good and evil, day and night. Bless is be less you. When something is really good, we say that is sick. Another word for good is wicked. That's wicked. The English language is full of hidden spells. This is why we call it spelling. Because every word you say is creating torus fields, which is energy and frequency. Frequency is the only thing that can penetrate your body without your consent. You can choose what you put into your body, but you cannot choose what you hear. Every frequency you listen to and produce has an effect on your cells and electromagnetic field. And when this field becomes destroyed, your body becomes destroyed. Because energy and frequency comes before physical matter. It is the creator of physical matter. English is the most spoken language in the world. They want everyone to speak it because it's filled with double meaning words which cast hidden spells. Mourning is the feeling you feel when someone has died. Why do you think the Bible says death and life are in the power of the tongue? This is why the word breath means spirit, because when we breathe deeply and do breath meditation,
we strengthen our electromagnetic field, which is your spirit, your spiral. Breathing exercises sends oxygen, which is energy, to the brain and stimulates the pineal gland. You can quite literally trip off your breath because your lungs produce DMT, and when you breathe deeply, you can activate a mystical experience or an out-of-body experience during meditation. So when you breathe deeply for long periods of time, you will feel yourself going lightheaded because you're activating your consciousness, you're awakening your pineal gland and your spirit. Whatever you do, stop breathing. Freemasonic compass is a compass and a square. Compass for the circles, the square for the square. Circle is the eternal plane. This is the mind, the soul, the spirit, which is within us, where there is no time, no space, no matter. This is the no beginning, no end. The square has beginning and end. This is the physical plane. This is where material things manifest from the mind, the eternal plane. This is where time, space, and matter and limitations exist. The Leonardo da Vinci Vitruvian Man is showing you the man in the square with the eternal circle outside of the square. The circle, which is the mind, the eternal self, the consciousness, manifests the physical plane. It is circles over squares, which is why the compass is on top of the square. The G is 7 because the 7 planets or spheres of energy manifest this physical material world. This is the generative principle of the 7 planets, the 7 days of the week, the 7 metals, the 7 diatonic tones, 7 colors. The celestial bodies are spheres and they rule over the earth, which is astrology. They give their energy to the earth, influencing the earth. The earth is the square. This is spheres over the square. We need to think outside of the box to reach our eternal self, which is mind. The mind is eternal, it is infinite, it has no limitations. Everything can exist in the mind. There is no limitation. The fluids in your body are in a cycle, a rhythm with the moon, because the moon affects the liquids in your body. This is why women have a menstrual cycle, every month. So the full moon is a high energy. This is when the liquids in your body are being pulled the most by the celestial moon. Sun is masculine, the moon is feminine, emotion and intellect. So the emotion is being affected by the moon, which is our mood. So on a full moon, this is when the lunatics come out. When the moon enters the sign that you were born in, your sun sign, a sacred fluid is released from the brain down to the spine, and we must raise this up the 33 vertebrae of our spine to be crucified in the skull, Golgotha. The planets are not physical rocks, they are energies which influence the earth and our bodies, our consciousness. Astrology is so important, and this is why the ancients mapped the celestial constellations. This book has everything you need to know. The link is in my bio. The Book of Wisdom, PDF or paperback. You're cursing yourself if you do this. It's the Antichrist cross, which represents the brain and the heart and cutting the connection. The reason why this is bad is because the heart and the brain are directly connected. The cranial brain does the thinking, but every thought you think creates an emotion felt in the heart. In fact, the heart has its own neural network of 40,000 specialized cells, which are the same ones in your brain. So the heart is your second brain. However, the cranial brain has 2 hemispheres, therefore thinking with it can cause confusion and dualism. The heart has an intelligence of its own, just like the brain. However, it's a singular organ. It does not have 2 hemispheres. So when we say follow your heart, this is a deep meaning because the heart has an intelligence of its own which is guiding you. And this is why Jesus is always pointing at the heart. In Freemasonry, the heart is symbolized as the book because the heart intelligence is what you need to read to guide you through this life experience. The heart is what tells you what is right and what is wrong. And when you follow your heart long enough, it takes you to your life purpose. It's easy to listen to your heart intelligence. You have to turn off the thoughts, place your hand on your heart just like Jesus is, and this will tell you the right answer. They don't want us connected to our hearts because we are all an infinite consciousness expressed in different bodies, and love is the unifying force that will bring Females represent magnetism. This is why they are curvy and attractive. Males represent electricity, which is the action-taking force. This is because everything is created out of electromagnetism. This is the real atom. This field spirals while coming inwards and outwards. The out force is the male, which is the red, and the in force is the female. This creates red shift, the out force, the in force blue shift. This is why everything is red and blue. Roses are red, violets are blue. God, Allah, Elohim are all names for the Supreme Being. They all add up for 26. 26 is 8. 8 is the Taurus field. God is light. God is energy. Everything is God. We are all God. 0 and 1, the binary code of all creation. 0, the cosmic womb. 1 is the action taking force. Male and female comes from the Taurus field. 0 and 1. The phi symbol is the Taurus field. Physical is the phi cycle, the cycle of the atom, which is a Taurus field. Day and night, we live in cycles. If you open your eyes, you will see magnetism in every aspect of creation. Everything physically is electric. Everything runs off electricity. Without electricity, your body couldn't move and the world wouldn't exist. Your brain is an electrical computer, and it is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Snakes and ladders is truth in plain sight. Your spine is the ladder and the kundalini is the snake. The snake in the tree of knowledge of good and evil is also the kundalini in the central nervous system, the spine up to the brain. The serpent is always tempting you to release your sexual energy, because sexual energy is the most powerful and potent emotion the human can feel. So when you overcome it, you are fighting the snake. And when you retain this energy, you can then resurrect, which means riserection. Raising the erection to the brain to illuminate the pineal gland. Why do you think the word sex has the S in it, which is the serpent, the sexual essence? If you release your fluids all the time, you will become mineral deficient. Your sexual energy is the most powerful and potent energy within your body. It is your soul force. Even if you're not transmuting this energy into kundalini, you can transmute it into critical thinking or other aspects of your life. Watching them dirty websites and masturbating all the time will destroy your mental health, because in your mind you are literally that person in the corner of a room watching two people have pleasure. What you do in your alone time will manifest into light into other aspects of your life. This is why you will not be confident, you will not radiate, because you know what you are doing on a deep level on your own, and you know it's disgusting. Spirituality is a psyop, people. It's all about your mind. It's about transmuting all the negative aspects of your mind into positive. When you change your mind, you change your body, your life, and your spirit. The toroidal field is a multi-dimensional energy pattern. It is a universal blueprint in which all energy and matter manifests. It can be visualized as a donut-shaped configuration where energy is in a continuous loop. The central axis in which the energy goes in and then back out is called the hyperboloid. And this corresponds with our spines. Our spines are also a hyperboloid for this electromagnetic torus field. The flow of energy within our torus field and our body follows the same principles that govern the larger universal patterns. Thoughts and emotions are also forms of energy which manifest through our electromagnetic torus field. A stone thrown into water will create ripples, which will create incandescent circles which travel outward. This is the two-dimensional representation of how we visualize sound waves. In three-dimensional space, sound waves propagate in all directions, which creates a spherical wave front. When these sound waves expand, they create the torus field shape. When we speak, we create vibrational waves which expand in all directions into torus fields. And this is why talking is called talk, torus fields. The words we say have an effect on other people's fields and your fields itself, affecting reality in all directions. Veganism rearranged is saving me, because consuming electrical foods feeds your spirit, which is your spiral, your spiraling electromagnetic field, because you're a biological battery, hence why you get charged in a court. Every cell in your body every 90 days transforms into the foods that you've been eating. Consumption of rotten flesh has no electromagnetism behind it. The fruit is electric and full of light. Lions' intestines are shorter. Our teeth are not made to rip open flesh. Meat-eating animals only live up to 15 years. Vegan animals live up to 40 years. Why do you think the Bible talks about humans living over 500 years? All of the geniuses of the past were all vegan. Humans possess a trichromatic vision, which means we are pretty much attracted to seek colours naturally, because our brains are wired to seek colourful food. Each animal and every being has specific qualities in its DNA. For example, bears are ferocious and strong. Camels have the ability to walk thousands of miles, and cats are majestic and sneaky. When you eat these animals, you are eating the virtues of that animal. You literally are what you eat. Meat is flesh, cheese is rotten milk, and eggs are fetuses. These terms have been created to conceal the true nature of what you are actually consuming. You descended from spirit to matter. Now you need to climb the stairway to heaven, which is your spine, and go from matter to spirit. The chakras are not what you think. They are 7 vortexes which our consciousness feeds energy into our physical body. You have a mental, astral, etheric, and physical body. They exist within the etheric plane, which binds your spirit to your physical form. Hence why in the Bible they are known as the 7 seals. States the lamb is worthy of opening the 7th seal, because the lamb is Aries, and Aries rules the head region to open the 7th seal, the 7th chakra. They're called the 7 seals because they seal your invisible consciousness. Heaven is even. This is why Jesus is pointed at the heart chakra, which is the balance point. When your vortexes are balanced, you have a deeper connection with your universal intelligence. Your higher self will have an easier job manifesting itself throughout the body. The world is stuck in the lower 3 energy centers, lust, food, and power. Instead, we want to aim to use the higher parts of the body, expression, intuition, and wisdom.